week ago. But the former Florida congressman is facing allegations of sexual misconduct. Gates denies the allegation, and the Justice Department never filed charges against him. Meanwhile, the House Ethics Committee is scheduled to meet today to discuss whether to release its findings on the Gates investigation. The panel was poised to release the potentially very damaging report last week, but just as Trump nominated Gates to Attorney General, the congressman abruptly resigned his post. The Ethics Committee is evenly divided between Republicans and Democrats, which means just one Republican has to side with the Democrats in order for the report to be released. Some Senate Republicans are asking to see the findings before they vote whether or not to confirm Gates. Others downplayed its importance.
I would like to see our committees do their full job. I'm not interested in a process that would just say, well, because the president has named him and you have Republican chairs coming into the new Congress, that we just move people out. There needs to be legitimate vetting. When I say legitimate, I mean just thorough vetting that the committees do. This is our job. This is the role of advice and consent, and I think we need to embrace advice and consent with full enthusiasm.
Nobody should be disqualified because of a media report.
It's more than a media report. He was investigated by the department he wants to leave.
And they didn't proceed forward.
Meanwhile, President-elect Trump also announced yesterday that former Senate candidate Dr. Mehmet Oz will be his pick to head the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services. The agency also oversees the insurance marketplaces created by the Affordable Care Act. Dr. Oz is now at least the third television personality selected by Trump to join his administration, who touted the celebrity heart surgeon's talk show in a statement announcing the selection. This is what Trump wrote about. Quote, he won 9 daytime Emmy Awards hosting the Dr. Oz show, where he taught millions of Americans how to make healthier lifestyle choices and gave a strong voice to the key pillars of the Make America Healthy Again movement. Oz posted that he was honored by the announcement and wrote that he was looking forward to serving his country. The CMS administrator position does require Senate confirmation, and at least one Democrat so far has already signaled opposition. Senate Appropriations Chair Patty Murray of Washington State slammed the choice in a statement, writing in part, "This is a pattern of Donald Trump pushing forward people he likes watching on TV for hugely consequential jobs in government, and it's going to lead to more chaos and bad outcomes for regular people." Meanwhile, Senator John Fetterman, the Pennsylvania Democrat who defeated Oz in the 2022 Senate race, appeared open to the choice.
Yeah, he's not my first choice. And certainly Trump was definitely not my first. So here we are. And we're going to have to work with these individuals. And if he's about protecting and preserving Medicaid Air and Medicare, then I don't know why that's controversial. But he's going to have a hearing, and then we're going to find out what he's about.
So you're open to confirming him then?
Well, yeah, I am. Yeah, it's like I'm not going to have like a knee-jerk, well, no, just because he said some mean things to me in an election or whatever. You know, we're all professionals. We got to move on that. And if he meets my criteria, then I vote for him.
Will have to be seen if Oz can be taken at his word at predicting those things. Trump said that Oz will work closely with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on the nation's healthcare system. Trump also yesterday selected billionaire investor and CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald, a man named Howard Lutnick, as his next Commerce Secretary. Lutnick has worked as co-chair of Trump's transition team and has been an outspoken advocate for his agenda, including explaining how Trump plans to use tariffs once in office. The role requires Senate confirmation. Lutnick has been at Cantor Fitzgerald since the 1980s, and you may recall that he was CEO on September 11th, 2001, when nearly 700 of his employees, including his brother, were killed in the terror attacks that day. The 63-year-old has been seen as a top contender to run Trump's Treasury Department. Lutnick wrote on social media that he would work to unleash America's full economic potential. Meanwhile, Trump then also named Linda McMahon as his pick for Secretary of Education. McMahon, a former World Wrestling Entertainment executive, currently serves as co-chair of Trump's transition team. Both she and Lutnick got jobs coming out of those posts. And she had been the head of the Small Business Administration during Trump's first term in office. McMahon stepped down from that post in 2019 to lead the pro-Trump America First Action super PAC. McMahon was also one of Trump's top donors during the 2024 campaign, giving more than $20 million to a Trump super PAC, his campaign, and other fundraising committees. Trump pledged to get rid of the Department of Education during his campaign. Now, that would take congressional approval, and he says that he would allow states to handle education individually. Trump mentioned that promise in his statement announcing the McMahon pick, writing in part, "We will send education back to the states, and Linda will spearhead that effort." McMahon has little experience in professional education, serving on the Connecticut Board of Education from 2009 to 2010. She also served on the Board of Trustees at Sacred Heart University, a private university in Connecticut with less than 9,000 students. Joining us now, congressional reporter for Politico, Daniela Diaz, who will help us sort through all this. Daniela, good morning. Let's start with the Gates pick and the House Ethics Committee meeting today. You've been covering this extensively. What are your sources telling us as to whether or not they'll release the Gates pick? And even if they don't, is there a chance the Gates report could still see the light of day?
Jonathan, in just a few hours, that panel is going to meet behind closed doors to decide what they plan to do on this ethics investigation that they've been doing for the last couple of months on Matt Gaetz. Now, you noted that they were supposed to meet last week, just days after Matt Gaetz resigned, after Donald Trump named him as his pick for Attorney General. Why a lot of lawmakers think that Gaetz resigned is because the Ethics Committee usually doesn't release investigation findings into former members. So that is one of the reasons why they think Gaetz resigned after Donald Trump named him as Attorney General. However, that's part of the discussion that's happening now behind closed doors within lawmakers, rank and file leadership, is how this is going to play out in just a few hours when they meet on Capitol Hill. But something to note and make clear is that this committee does not release its agenda publicly. They always meet privately. They signed an ethics code, so they're not able to really share a lot of what their investigation findings or what they're doing. But the members of this panel have a copy of this report, and we are expecting them to either vote to release it or adopt it. That's how that would happen, or to possibly block the release or punt this vote for a future day.
And if they vote to not authorize its release, could the Senate still get their hands on it, or is it possible that, frankly, a reporter could?
That's what a lot of members on the committee are privately looking at to see if they can do. From my understanding, a lot of Democrats believe that this could potentially be leaked. As you've seen a lot in the last couple of days, including Jeffries just yesterday, said that they want to see this report. So there's a lot of pressure happening on Capitol Hill to have this report being in the hands of lawmakers. Now, there's even Senate Republicans like John Cornyn, who sits on Senate Judiciary, that said, I'd like to see this report regardless of what happens in the House. So that is part of why this committee is meeting today, is that pressure is building, and they do see that they need to talk about this.
So, Daniela, let's set aside Gaetz for the moment, his nomination getting the most headlines. But there are a lot of Trump's picks here where there are real concerns about their qualifications. Are there one or two that either Republicans or Democrats are particularly opposed to beyond Gaetz? Is that Hegseth? Is that Tulsi Gabbard? Could it be Dr. Oz? Do you sense, as you talk to sources there, any momentum to stand against any of these others?
What's clear, Jonathan, is that Democrats, other than what you just heard from Fetterman, are largely opposed to most of these cabinet picks. Now, something to note is that Donald Trump can actually get these cabinet picks through the Senate without any Democratic support. So what's really going to matter is that margin. Once everything is called, Republicans have the majority in the Senate. But if a senator like Lisa Murkowski, moderate, Susan Collins of Maine oppose even one or two of these cabinet picks, it's still likely that Donald Trump can get these cabinet picks through when he's president in just a few months. Also, of course, that controversy of recess appointments keeps coming up. Donald Trump, of course, pushing that he wants the ability to appoint people into his cabinet when the Senate is in recess, so there's not a formal vote. So all of that's still happening and being discussed on Capitol Hill daily.
Politico's Daniela Diaz. Daniela, covering a lot of ground for us this morning. Thank you again. Next up here, Donald Trump is urging Senate Republicans to stop Democrats from confirming any more of President Joe Biden's judicial nominees. We'll bring you the latest on that brewing fight in the upper chamber. Plus, why Manhattan prosecutors have agreed to put on hold the sentencing in the president-elect's criminal hush money case. Those stories and a check on sports and weather when we come right back.
If you're looking for the ultimate golf technology product, look no further than the Player Plus GPS speaker, boasting a one-of-a-kind, all-glass touchscreen display. You'll be able to see your front, center, back distances, swipe for your hazards, swipe for your score, swipe for driving distance. We've packed 3 passive radiators based on the top, bottom, and the side, and 2 incredibly rich speaker drivers for an incredible sound experience on and off the course.
On a wave, on a mission, I'ma stop the ignition and go to space. Blast off with ambition, no time for indecision, what a waste.
This holiday season, give the gift of performance and style with Roback. Whether you're shopping for him or for her, Roback has the perfect piece for every adventure. Our men's and women's collections blend comfort with versatility and are designed for those who are always on the move. From sleek, breathable polos to cozy fleeces and jackets, each piece is built to move with you. Make this holiday memorable with Roback. Shop now at roback.com.
It's so important to have work that's inclusive of broader audiences. And you know why? The world is changing every minute. The demographics are changing. There's 1.5 billion people in the world with textured hair, melanin skin. The mix in the world of size and age and lifestyle, and people don't want to be put in a box. There's this rise of individuality. Like, I'm a demand and a stand that you're going to meet my needs. And by the way, you're going to tell my story. So there's the business case for inclusion. And then the other thing is just listening and observing and watching people. And it's in that observation that you are struck by those untold stories, those insights. It serves more than the underserved. And then there are thousands more people that say, wow, that makes sense for me and my need.
These are turbulent times. And while I can't necessarily give them good news all the time, if people can feel like they are informed and they're ready